There are moments in life you replay 1,000 times, wondering if you made the right choice. For me, that moment was 10 years ago, standing in a hospital parking lot, watching Emma drive away without knowing the truth. My name is Daniel Cross. I'm 37 now, living in the same small house outside Asheville, North Carolina, where I grew up. I work as a carpenter, building things with my hands because it's easier than dealing with words I should have said but never did. 10 years ago, Emma and I were supposed to get married. We had the church booked, invitations sent, a whole life planned. Then, 3 weeks before the wedding, I told her we couldn't do it. I didn't explain why. I just let her go. She left town. I stayed. And for 10 years, I carried the weight of what I never said. Then, on a Tuesday evening in late September, I heard a knock on my door. When I opened it, Emma stood there, older but still her, and my heart stopped the same way it did a decade ago. Stay with me until the end of this story. I hadn't seen Emma in 10 years, but I recognized her instantly. Same green eyes that used to read me better than anyone. Same way of standing, weight shifted slightly to one side, arms crossed like she was protecting herself. But she looked different too. Her hair was shorter now, barely touching her shoulders. There were faint lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. She wore a simple gray sweater and jeans, nothing like the bright colors she used to love. "Hi, Daniel," she said softly. My throat felt tight. "Emma." We stood there for a moment, the autumn wind moving between us, carrying the smell of wood smoke from somewhere down the road. I could hear my neighbor's dog barking in the distance, the sound of a truck passing on the highway. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside without a word, and she walked past me into the small living room. She looked around slowly, taking in the worn couch, the tools scattered on the coffee table, the half-finished bookshelf leaning against the wall. "You're still building things," she said, touching the edge of the bookshelf. "It's what I do." She turned to face me, and I saw something in her expression I couldn't quite read. Sadness, maybe, or anger that had softened over time. "Why are you here, Emma?" She took a breath. "My mom died last month." The words hit me harder than I expected. I'd known her mother well. She used to invite me over for Sunday dinners, treated me like I was already family. "I'm sorry," I said, meaning it. "The funeral was 2 weeks ago. I stayed in town to settle her things." She paused, her fingers gripping the strap of her purse. "I found something while I was cleaning out her house. Letters. A lot of them." My chest tightened. "They were from you, Daniel. To me. Dated from 10 years ago. My mom never gave them to me." I felt the floor shift beneath me. Those letters. The ones I'd written and given to her mother, asking her to pass them along only if Emma ever came back asking questions. I never thought she would. "Did you read them?" I asked quietly. "No." She looked at me directly now, and I saw the hurt she'd been carrying. "I wanted to hear it from you first. I wanted you to tell me, face to face, why you really left me." The words I'd kept locked away for 10 years were suddenly right there, demanding to be spoken. But I wasn't sure I was ready to break my own heart all over again. I walked to the kitchen, needing distance, needing to move. "You want coffee?" "Daniel, don't." I stopped, my hand on the cabinet door. "Don't do that thing where you avoid the conversation by being polite," she said. "I drove 3 hours to get here. I need to know." I turned to face her. She was standing in the doorway now, arms still crossed, but her eyes were wet. "You disappeared, Daniel. 3 weeks before our wedding, you told me you couldn't do it. You said you weren't ready, that you needed space, and then you just stopped. No calls, no explanations, nothing." "I know." "Do you?" Her voice cracked. "Do you know what that did to me? I thought we were building a life together. I thought I knew you." I leaned against the counter, gripping the edge. "You did know me. Then why?" The question hung between us, heavy and sharp. I'd rehearsed this moment 100 times in my head over the years, but now that it was real, the words felt impossible. "It wasn't about you," I said finally. "That's what people say when they don't want to tell the truth." She was right. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the woman I'd loved more than anything. The woman I'd let go because I thought it was the only way to protect her. 3 weeks before the wedding, I started, my voice rough. I went to the doctor. I'd been having headaches, blurred vision. I thought it was stress. Emma's expression shifted. She took a step closer. "They found a brain tumor. Stage 3. They said I needed surgery immediately, and even then—" I stopped, swallowing hard. Even then, the survival rate wasn't great. The room went silent except for the sound of the wind outside and the faint ticking of the clock on the wall. "Daniel," she whispered, "I didn't want you to marry me out of obligation. I didn't want you to become a widow before you even got to be a wife." The words were coming faster now, years of silence breaking open. "So I lied. I told you I wasn't ready. I let you think I was the kind of man who gets cold feet and runs." Emma's hand covered her mouth. Tears were streaming down her face now. "I had the surgery a week after you left. It took months to recover. The doctor said I was lucky." I laughed bitterly. "Lucky?" She moved toward me and I stepped back. "Don't," I said. "Don't feel sorry for me. I made my choice." "You made it without me," she said, her voice breaking. "You decided my life for me. I was trying to protect you." "From what? From loving you? From being there when you needed me most?" She was angry now, the tears still falling but her voice strong. "You took that choice away from me, Daniel." I had no answer for that, because she was right. "I need to know something," she said, stepping closer. "Are you okay now? Did it come back?" "I'm fine. It's been 10 years. I'm fine." She nodded slowly, trying to process everything. Then she asked the question I'd been dreading. "What was in those letters?" The light outside was fading, casting long shadows across the room. I could hear the first drops of rain starting to tap against the windows. "The letters," I said quietly, "were everything I couldn't say to your face." Emma waited, still standing close enough that I could smell her perfume, something different from what she used to wear, but it suited her. "I wrote them over the course of a year, after the surgery, during recovery. When I was alone and scared and missing you so badly I couldn't breathe." I looked down at my hands. "I told you about the tumor. about the surgery, about waking up and the first thing I thought about was you." She was crying silently now, but she didn't interrupt. "I told you that letting you go was the hardest thing I ever did, that I knew you'd hate me for it, and I deserved that." My voice was shaking. "I told you I still loved you, that I never stopped, that if I could go back and do it differently, I would have been honest from the start, even if it meant watching you walk away anyway. Daniel, I told you I was sorry," I continued, the words pouring out now, "for being a coward, for making a decision that should have been ours, not just mine, for robbing you of the chance to choose." The rain was coming harder now, drumming against the roof. The room had grown darker, but neither of us moved to turn on a light. "Why did you give them to my mother?" Emma asked. "Why not send them to me directly?" "Because I didn't want to disrupt your life. You'd moved on, started over. I heard you were in Raleigh, working at that architecture firm you always dreamed about." I finally met her eyes. "I just needed to say it all, even if you never heard it. Your mom promised she'd only give them to you if you ever came back asking questions. I never thought you would." Emma wiped her face with the back of her hand. "I came back because I needed closure. I needed to understand why the man I loved disappeared without a real explanation. And now you know. Now I know you made a choice based on fear. You decided I was too weak to handle the truth. That's not—" "Yes, it is," she said firmly. "You thought you were protecting me, but you were really protecting yourself, from having to be vulnerable, from having to trust me with the hard parts." Her words cut deeper than I expected, because they held truth I didn't want to face. "I would have stayed, Daniel." Her voice broke on my name. "I would have been there through all of it. The surgery, the recovery, the fear. That's what love is. It's not just the easy parts." I felt something crack inside my chest. "I know that now." "Do you?" She stepped closer, and this time I didn't back away. "Because I need to know. After 10 years, after everything, do you still love me?" The question hung in the air between us, demanding honesty I wasn't sure I could give without destroying us both. Outside, thunder rumbled in the distance, and I realized I had to choose: protect myself with silence one more time, or risk everything by telling her the truth. The rain was falling steadily now, creating a rhythm against the windows that filled the silence between us. I looked at Emma, really looked at her, and saw not just the woman I'd loved 10 years ago, but the person she'd become in my absence. "Yes," I said finally. "I still love you. I never stopped." Her breath caught. "But that doesn't mean anything changes," I continued, the words painful but necessary. "You have a life in Raleigh, a career you built, friends, probably someone who—" "There's no one," she said quietly. "There have been people over the years, but no one. No one was you." I closed my eyes. "Emma, I'm not saying we pick up where we left off," she said, her voice stronger now. "I'm not that naive. 10 years is a long time. We're different people." "Then what are you saying?" She moved closer, close enough that I could see the gold flecks in her green eyes, The same ones I used to trace with my finger when we'd lie together talking about the future. I'm saying I deserve the truth. All of it. Not just the letters I never read, but what happens now. What you want. What you're afraid of. I turned away, walking to the window. The rain blurred everything outside, turning the familiar landscape into something unclear and distant. I'm afraid of the same thing I was afraid of 10 years ago, I admitted. That I'll hurt you. That I'm not enough. That my health could... Daniel, look at me. I turned. She stood there, tears still on her face, but her expression resolute. Life doesn't come with guarantees. You could have told me about the tumor, and I could have been hit by a car the next day. We can't control everything. I know that now. Do you? Because it seems like you're still trying to make decisions for both of us. She took a breath. I need you to understand something. When you let me go, you broke my heart. But finding out the truth now, finding out you went through all of that alone, that breaks my heart in a different way. I felt the weight of those words settle over me. I spent 10 years angry at you, she continued. 10 years thinking you were the coward who ran. And you were a coward, Daniel, but not in the way I thought. You were scared of letting me love you through something hard. I didn't want to be a burden. Love isn't a burden. Carrying secrets alone is a burden. The truth of that hit me like a physical thing. I'd spent a decade convincing myself I'd done the noble thing, when really I'd just been terrified of being seen at my most vulnerable. I don't know how to fix this, I said quietly. Maybe we don't fix it. Maybe we just start over. Slowly, honestly this time. I looked at her, this woman who'd driven 3 hours in the rain to confront me, who'd had every right to walk away after learning what I'd done, but who stood here offering something I didn't deserve. I live in Asheville, I said. You live in Raleigh. That's 3 hours apart. It is. I'm a carpenter. You're an architect. Our lives don't exactly overlap. They don't. And there's no guarantee this works. We might try and realize too much time has passed. She smiled for the first time, a small, sad smile that reminded me of the girl I'd fallen in love with. There's no guarantee of anything, Daniel, but I didn't drive here tonight to leave with nothing. Outside, the rain was starting to ease. I could see breaks in the clouds, hints of the evening sky showing through. What do you want from me? I asked. The truth. Always the truth, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. She paused. And time. Time to see if we can build something new from what we left behind. I thought about the letters sitting in her car, the words I'd written when I thought I'd never see her again. I thought about the last 10 years spent building things with my hands because I couldn't face building a life with someone else. And I thought about what it might mean to try again, to be brave enough to be honest, to trust that love could be strong enough even when people were fragile. Okay, I said. Okay? Let's try. Slowly. No promises, except honesty. Emma's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they looked different. Hopeful, maybe. Or just relieved that the 10-year silence was finally broken. She didn't move to embrace me. We didn't kiss. We just stood there in my small living room as the rain stopped and the last light faded from the sky. It wasn't the ending I'd imagined 10 years ago. It wasn't perfect or certain or easy, but it was real. And maybe that was enough. If this story touched something in you, leave a comment below. Have you ever held back the truth from someone you loved because you thought it would protect them? Have you ever gotten a second chance you didn't think you deserved? Subscribe if stories like this speak to you. Sometimes the words we never say are the ones that matter most.